Hello. If you're one of the 63 people who watched my first video, welcome back. If you are new here, wow, you're brave. And this is our second take of this video because my editor just completely messed up the audio because it wasn't me. I didn't accidentally hit a bunch of buttons on the microphone and mess up any of the settings because I would never do that. So get it together, Rita. All right. So we Scrap says to say hello. We are here because we just finished reading a book, and that book was. Oh, thank you. I accidentally touched it. Thank you. Was The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. I'm just going to read the synopsis just to give us all a little refresher. In a boarded up house on a dead end street at the edge of the wild Washington woods lives a family of three. A young girl who isn't allowed outside, not after last time. A young man who drinks alone in front of his TV, trying to ignore the gaps in his memory. And a house cat who loves napping and reading the Bible. An unspeakable secret binds them together, but when a new neighbor moves in next door, what is buried out among the birch trees may come back to haunt them all. The Last House on Needless Street is an immersive and shocking journey that will keep you guessing until the last page. So, just to start, this is one of those books that goes back and forth between different points of view. I don't like when books do that. Now, that has nothing to do with the author. That is a me problem, and that's just a preference. Anyway, so we meet our main protagonist, which is Ted Bannerman, and Ted's weird. It's one of those things where it's like there's something off, but you can't put your finger on it. It's like that guy's kind of weird. What's going on? So Ted lives in this house on Needless Street, and all of the windows are boarded up. There's plywood on the windows, and he has these little peepholes that he watches the world go by with. And the story kind of centers on a little girl named Lulu who disappeared from, there's like a lake area that's there close by that a lot of people go to. And Ted calls her name is Lulu. Ted calls her girl with popsicle because that was the picture on her missing persons thing where she was a little girl with a popsicle. Ted was a suspect in that disappearance, but Ted had an alibi because apparently he likes to hang out at like the gas station, I guess. Well, maybe you want to go hang out at the gas station. Maybe you could bring in a little money. You pay no rent. You live here for free. I will hang your cage outside again. Say you're sorry. Apology accepted. Anyhow, Ted spends a good deal of his time trying to appear normal, which normal's kind of a subjective thing anyway. I think normal's different for everybody. But his mom had told him that he had the family sickness inside of him. We'll come back to mom later. So Ted notices there's a new neighbor moving in across the street. And she comes over, introduces herself, just kind of say hi. She asks Ted if she can use his bathroom because her water's not been hooked up yet, supposedly. Ted, of course, does not want to let her in there, but he does anyway because he wants to appear normal. So he's going to be polite and he's going to let this strange lady that he's never met before in his house use his bathroom. So this new neighbor is none other than Dee, Lulu's older sister. Yes, girl with popsicle's older sister. I have a lot of thoughts about Dee, but we'll get there. Which, by the way, there may be spoilers in this video. So if you have not read this yet, you might want to hit the pause button, read the book, and then come back. So as we kind of go through the story, Ted gets a little more progressively unhinged and some stuff kind of starts happening. And Dee doesn't move any furniture in this house. Like she doesn't do anything. She just sits at her window and watches Ted's house because she is convinced that Ted is guilty and she's going to catch him. So during this time, Olivia and Lauren, who normally don't ever speak to each other because when Lauren is visiting, he puts Olivia in the freezer with the holes poked in the lid, which is not an appropriate place to put a kitty cat, like at all, because there's Ted and then Olivia the cat and then Lauren the daughter that he shares custody of, or so we're led to believe. Anyway, they're talking to each other, and Olivia and Lauren they both want to escape. Olivia has never been outside her entire life, and Olivia is the cat. The only thing she can do is look through these little holes. And one of her favorite pastimes is to read the Bible. And so what she'll do is she'll knock it off of the kitchen counter and just read whatever it flops open to. And then I think that's admirable that Olivia wants to read the Bible. But anyway, so they're trying to hatch this plan to escape. And Lauren needs Olivia's help. She said he took her feet. What does that mean? He took her feet. What does that mean? You don't have feet. You're all arms. No, you don't have toes either. You are all arms. You don't have feet. Well, I'm sorry. That's just a cruel fact of nature, I suppose. Not that you came from nature anyway. Jeez. So something that Ted likes to do is he likes to use a little tape recorder because he has these missing gaps in his memory, which is kind of another clue as to what's going on. And so what Lauren and Olivia have decided, they need to get this tape recorder and they're going to record a message and they're going to get it out into the world. So while Ted is gone, which he usually goes to see his therapist, which he calls him the bug man, which is a little strange. And when he's going to this therapist, he tells him about this television show that he's watching where the daughter is having a problem and here's all the symptoms. Well, what should the mother do? Ted, I think, is actually talking about himself. And that's one thing that this therapist is trying to get him to do is admit that he's talking about himself. But Ted, he's not going to do that because we remember Ted is doing his best to appear normal. There is absolutely nothing normal about what goes on over there. I don't even know where you came from. You just showed up one day. I'm going to throw you in the crawl space. You probably like it down there. So, Lauren and Olivia, while Ted is out seeing the bug man, they find the tape recorder. Okay, great. They're getting him, they do a message, but they have to wait until the right time to throw it out the mail slot. So I can't remember if it's a few days or a few weeks, but some time goes by. Lauren and Olivia make their little message, and I don't remember exactly what it said, but it was something to the effect of Ted's the murderer, please rescue me, call the police. So as Dee, of course, watches Ted's house all the time, she sees something fly out of the mail slot. Okay. Then she waits a little bit, and here comes Ted out, and she sees him pick something up off the ground. She's like, oh, okay, great, that's the thing. But Ted just picked up a pine cone because apparently he likes pine cones. Ted goes off. Dee goes to break in. She takes with her a hammer and some nails, pulls the plywood off, actually physically goes in the house, looks around, tries to find her sister. She can't find her anywhere. And then she finds the tape, gets a tape recorder, plays it. She is now convinced that it's her sister, that her sister is alive in there and she just needs to rescue her. And the thing about it is Ted notices that someone broke into his house because when the ding dong put the plywood back up, she used new nails. And what are new nails? They're shiny. So he knew that someone had been in his house because he saw that the nails were new. I mean, if you're going to do a B&E, you can at least not be an amateur about it. Anyway, something else that Ted has this thing that he does, they're called the gods. I don't remember specifically if the book said what they were, but these were like things that belonged to his mother. So they're all going to move the gods. And while they're out, of course, Dee follows Ted into the woods. She's like, this is my chance. I'm going to get him. Even if he doesn't get arrested, I'm going to kill him. So as Dee is going out in the woods, she has a little bit of a panic attack. And then she ends up getting bitten by a rattlesnake. She got what was coming to her. She absolutely did get what was coming to her. Well, I'm glad what happened happened. Is this your villain origin story? Oh, jeez. Anywho. So by the time Dee collects herself from the panic attack and then gets bitten by a rattlesnake, she ends up finding Ted. And Lauren has already stabbed him. Because something that you have to realize is that none of the people that live in this house but Ted are real. They're all Pepe Sylvia. They do not exist. Might as well all been named Pepe Sylvia. They ain't there. At this point, we have kind of figured out that Ted is suffering from, I'm a kid of the 90s. They called it multiple personality disorder back then, but now I think they call it dissociative identity disorder. Do not quote me on that. Google it yourself. So Lauren has already stabbed Ted at this point. In reality, what has happened is that Ted has stabbed himself. So Dee decides, all right, I'm just going to leave you there and let you die. Now, remember, she was bitten by a rattlesnake and has not gotten any medical care, so she just dies in the woods. And she got what was coming to her. And here's the reason. This entire time, she has been trying to put a balm on her guilt because it's her fault. She was supposed to be watching her sister and went off into the woods while they were at the lake with their family with a teenage boy. I don't have to give you much of what was going on because they were doing what teenagers do. And while they were doing that, Lulu fell on a rock and hit her head. The teenage boy gets scared and he runs off. So does Dee. She just leaves. She just runs off. And only after she had run off did she decide, oh, I should probably go back there. So she goes back there. Lulu's gone. But she does see a car driving off. So she tries to chase the car down because she's not sure. Did they take her? I don't know. So she has to walk all the way back to the lake, back to her family, to just pretend that she had no idea where her sister was. Oh no, Lulu never caught up to me. I didn't even know you sent her to come with me. The entire time she knew. She dedicated her whole life to just pin this on someone else because as long as someone else could be guilty, she wouldn't have to take responsibility. So she got what was coming to her. So, and I don't think anybody ever found her. I think she just was in the woods, a skeleton, I guess. I don't know. So here's the thing. Ted actually does not die. He gets found by his neighbor, the one with the dog, and goes to the hospital, gets medical treatment, gets treatment for his mental illness, and Ted decided it was time to talk to the police. Here's the kicker. Ted's mom was the serial killer. She used to work at a hospital. She was fired from said hospital. Now, in the beginning, you don't know why, but she was fired from the hospital because she was hurting the children, but just the little boys. And she hurt Ted too, which is where all of these other personalities came from, is they came out of a response to that trauma. And he developed all of these other parts of him to be able to go away so that whenever he was being hurt by his mother, it would be Lauren taking all that pain. And that's where all of this came from. She had, I don't remember exactly, because it was like several weeks ago that I read this book. Yes, we all know I have a memory like a goldfish. Well, what did you eat for breakfast yesterday, smart guy? That's exactly what I thought. See, you don't remember either. Yeah, I don't remember what I had for breakfast. But anyway, the neighbor lady that Ted calls the Chihuahua lady because she's a lady that owns a little Chihuahua, she used to ask Ted's mom to look in on her plants whenever she would like go on vacation and stuff. That was where she was hiding the bodies because Ted saw her take a suitcase over there. She didn't come back without the suitcase. And I think she off Ted's dad too because she said he left. I don't think he did. I think she killed him. The person who really had the family sickness was Ted's mom. Now, the police did ask about his mom, but he just told them that she died. Technically, yes, that's true. What she did was, and I'm pretty sure this happened when Ted was a teenager because she kept trying to get him to fill out job applications. And I think it's because she wanted him to get a job so that he would be able to support himself. She sent Ted out for ice cream. And when Ted came back, she had hung herself. He put her under the cabinet under the sink for a little while. And I think one of the gods was probably her body. But good riddance to bad rubbish, if you want my opinion. So, final thoughts. This was a really good book, and it did take me a long time to read, but that has nothing to do with the author or the story. I am the world's slowest reader. But you definitely should check this out. I am really bad at this. There's a good look at the cover. I got mine on Amazon. You can get it if you want. Support your local bookstore. So anyway, thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And if you want to see what we're reading next, you're going to want to go to my Instagram and my TikTok, where we post the video where our friend, the Hand of Glory, is going to draw out the next read. Hand gets to pick the books because he pays the utilities. You don't pay rent or anything. He started that Only Hands website. You know, I don't like to talk about it. It makes me icky because people like it, evidently. No, apparently it's just his hands. There are no other hands. It's just his. Yeah, it makes me kind of want to crawl under something too. So anyway, we will see you all in the next one. Thank you so much for being here. And just for full transparency, this was take like 112 because it took me a minute to get my thoughts in order. But we got it, and I cannot wait to see you guys again on the next video.